First, I think the no is imperative, but when actually this no appears in oneself, it appears because Malchut has decided that the will to receive to oneself is being taken out from the meeting point, or from the ability to receive any pleasure and any light. Now, since the Creator has decided that without pleasure, or let me put it in another way, pleasure is the only way through which there can be a meeting point between the Creator and the createe. So actually, the Creator is imploring Malchut to receive, but she's saying, I cannot, or the no, I cannot receive as before. What happened before? Before I received without taking account of your presence. It was absent in my mind. You were absent in my mind, in my consciousness. Mm-hmm. So, no to the way it was. One can say in the past, there is no past, but let's say, this is what we should say now. No to the way we perceive or ignore or cause divinity to be absent from our life. Now that we want its presence, the condition is that it's no to the way, it's yes to a new way of receiving. Mm-hmm. It will receive with the condition that it will give pleasure to the Creator. And it will be, the way it will be, give pleasure and will not disconnect me, is the way I will use the pleasure. I cannot not receive, but I create a new vessel of reception, which includes in it the no of the way I received, and the yes I will receive, but only with a very acute memory of the presence of the giver of everything. And this is very much to do with the Passover. This is what Baal HaSulam is saying, that we are enslaved to the fact that we think that someone else is trying to create change now in the world, or something else is enslaving us, this virus or this panic. It's actually a pandemic of panic, not a pandemic of virus. And yet you have to keep everything because the panic creates, our weakness of immunity. Okay, so it's not a panic that we need. I'm moving into your practical question. So it's what we would like to fear, to have the fear, or the true fear. True fear is awe to the fact that really something is trying to speak to us and change us for the better, because otherwise we're going into a place, parenthesis. As you know, creation was happening in 6 days, and in the 7th, God completed everything that was needed to be created for human to complete it. So the 7th day, which is the Sabbath of the Creator, inside it there is the 6,000 years of our reformation. Okay, and we're coming to the end of it. So whenever the Creator is going out of his Sabbath, is only to save life. So any interception or any intervention from high is when there is a need to save humanity, as it was in Egypt, as it is today. Is to save whatever is possible to save from humanity. So everyone who is hearing the call and actually is saying to themselves, this is for me, yeah? And this is for Judah, this is for unifying the need of humanity with the listening to the message of the time. This is where I'm going to concentrate, as every panic is self-suggestion, as I said before. This is the way I'm going to feed with this I'm going to feed my consciousness. With this I'm going, with a study, with this perception, with this consciousness, with the effort to listen, with the effort to study the new language, with the effort to see the grace in others and in the time and in the way I can offer myself to others from that standpoint. And this is the practical end of it. So I answered your practical question?
Well, I have, on the practical level, a little bit more. We don't get into joining groups like that are trying to change the governments and the politics. And I have a draw to that because there's sort of a consciousness out there of whatever we call it, consolidation of power in the hands of a few, or the political thing that's going on right now too, and using this virus either for the good or for the bad, or for the concentration of power to the hands of a few. And you don't speak much about joining in a political discourse with others who are trying to share the warning, or flare out the warning that it can be used for hurting or consolidation for few, or for everyone. And there are people in the political arena who are putting themselves out there, I think very courageously, who are speaking about that, not in the same terms that you are, but I want to bridge the two, because somehow I feel we need to, I feel a responsibility to be a part of that discourse on a political level that's affecting our children and grandchildren as well. What do you think?
I don't think that the front line of the discourse is very clear to everyone. I don't think it's at a certain point. I'm going to answer through the study. At a certain point, all the wise people of Egypt, all the cabinet ministers, said to Pharaoh, "Don't you see that Egypt is doomed?" When he's still, insisting on not letting go. So it means, if we're talking about liberation, what you first see is you see that the belt is becoming tighter. This is what you see. So the voice that are against it, don't you see that Egypt is doomed, is thinking that really we will have to act, but everything is an agent. Yeah? Everything that we see playing outside is not a power on it. The view of that there is a separation of this is actually the work of that person, or this is the work of the other person, or the misunderstanding. It's a unified reading of actually sowing panic, curtailing power. It's nothing different than it was 3 or 4 months ago. You just see it now. This is the difference. There's nothing different from 5 months ago. It's the same, it just becomes transparent. The consolidation of power was there, the intention was there, you just see it. That's all. We are all able to see it. Okay, so now the question is, are you going to argue with that, or are you going to prepare yourself and others to the language of the future, which we don't know what kind of political form it will take. For sure, it won't be that of the past.
Mm.
So the argument and discourse is the language of the past, because it's the fact that no one actually spoke about it before because it was convenient. It stopped being convenient, and that's the difference. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And this is where we should put our emphasis.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you so much.
Okay.